Hello everyone, Ali Safi here, Safi Financial Network, November 18, 2025. Here is another daily analysis and it's going to be very quick one. So let's get into it. Here is S&P 500 daily chart. And as we expected, a market is going down for a 5 to 10% correction. And I just want to emphasize that this is going to be a correction. This is not going to be a bear market or a crash or something like that. As I said before, this is going to be a good buying opportunity for the next leg up, potentially to new all-time high in the first half of 2026. So, as I said before, this is going to be a 5 to 10% correction. I know that everyone is just looking for some kind of like a crash or bear market or those nonsense that are everywhere in the social media or potentially in YouTube or X accounts. You will see that there are lots of bearish reading for the market. As long as I know, based on my cycles and based on my analysis, this is not going to be a crash. This is just a very healthy correction, and we should take it as a good buying opportunity. We were waiting for this in September, October. Actually, as you see here, market didn't give us any chance. Just one deep down in October 13, actually October 10, market going all the way down and then recover back up to new all-time high. Right now, as I said before, we are going to test potentially this area, which is going to be October low, or even if we stretch down, which is my favorite actually situation or position is going to be if we stretch down all the way to 62.97, let's say 6,300, that's going to be a perfect buying opportunity. So how long this correction is going to last? I believe that this correction is going to last potentially for the next week or so. However, it's not going to be all the way down. It's going to be just sideways to the downside, which means potentially we're going to see uptick for 2-3 days and then getting back to the downside. As we see here, we got a 3 days up and then retracing back all the way up to 68.60. And then here's the doji bar, bearish engulfing confirmation, the downside move. And today we take out this low, and future market right now, we are positive. Potentially, we are going to see positive momentum for next 2-3 days. So I'm not surprised if we see some kind of like a bullish momentum again for the next 2-3 days. But ultimately, I'm looking forward to complete this correction. So sideways to the downside for the next week as well. That's going to be kind of like a feasible scenario for the market. So stay tuned for that one. Moving on to Nasdaq. Nasdaq is the same. Let me just go over to a daily chart here. So here's the Nasdaq daily chart. We got a pretty nice bearish momentum to the downside. S&P 500 hit 5% from the top. So Nasdaq today hit almost 35% to the downside. So 7% downside, it's pretty healthy for the Nasdaq correction. And we can see still going all the way down to 24,000 area, or even if we take out this low, 23,300, that's going to be a good level, which is going to be this orange line coming to this pivotal point. And we are getting into almost 38% Fibonacci level from this low all the way to this high. So that's going to be the spot on, the sweet spot for a Nasdaq if you want to get to the long position. However, as I said, stochastic momentum is getting into oversold condition, and we should see bounces coming back potentially for the next 2-3 days. We're going to see a bounce in technology names, as some of them are pretty oversold and some of them are getting into very good levels, if you ask me. And moving on to gold, or before gold, let's start with Dow Jones. Dow Jones is getting into my interesting area, which is this 45 to 46.33. So we got into this box. Stochastic momentum index is getting into oversold condition, and Dow for 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive days is getting to the downside. The ideal scenario is going to be 5 to 7 days, and then we're going to see the retracement or getting back to the upside. So that would be kind of like the corrective rally. I would say this is not going to be end up the correction, at least at my book. If we take out this high, then we're going to see, okay, so potentially we are going to get back to the bullish momentum. But all the way, if we go to 47,000 and then see a retracement getting back to a downside. That means this is kind of like a, if we call it as like an X, this is going to be A wave, and this is going to be your B wave. And the C wave usually complete the correction. And it's going to take out this low, which is going to be a stop hunting for lots of levels. But if you see there are lots of support here, down here, or even this institutional level, which is my favorite, above just the 44,000 area. So that would be a great scenario if we get a bounce and then getting back to a downside for completing this correction. That would be a perfect scenario for Dow Jones, and we will see how it goes. Moving on to gold. Gold is getting back to the upside today, I would say, after a couple sessions to the downside. Gold just formed the bottom here. I would say this is not the bottom. This is potentially is getting ready for a bounce. And this bounce could be very short-lived, probably a day or two. And then we're going to see another potential sideways to the downside. And take a look at this pivotal point. So if we get below this, that would be kind of like the ultimate scenario that I'm looking at, to 36 to 3,500 area. So that would be the scenario for me for gold, usually in December, January, just before the Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. So that would be kind of like the good scenario for gold, because I would say this couple weeks, or I should say more than weeks, it's going to take potentially 2-3 months corrective move. That would be excellent buying opportunity for gold, because this is not going to be the end of the bull market for gold. Gold is just, I would say, starting a very nice cyclical bull market, and this is one of the initiation of this cyclical bull market. This is going to be the initial cyclical bull market, and we should see more upside is coming for the next a year or two. So this correction to this level would be an amazing buying opportunity. So we should just take consideration of a buying opportunity. Silver is the same. So silver had better move compared to gold. It's just going all the way up to new all-time high after 13 years, coming back down today. Today it was positive, but this is kind of like WM pattern, and we can see some kind of like consolidation or bounce, but getting back to downside, finishing this pivot here, it's going to challenge this pivotal point, which ultimately I'm looking for $40 to $44 per ounce for silver, which is going to be, I would say, a great buying opportunity if you ask me, because that's going to go all the way up to higher highs, and still there are lots of ways to go higher. So stay tuned for that one. Moving on to crude, which is going to be the final asset for today. Pretty nicely forming a bullish consolidation crude here. And I'm just looking at this rally is starting sooner or later, because crude is forming a pretty nice bottom. And keep an eye on 62, because if it goes above 62, that's going to complete its correction. This bull flag is going to be triggered, and it's going to tackle to 66 level. So if we get above 66 level, I would say crude is finishing its bear market for 3 years, and we're going to get back all the way up to a potentially bull market for crude for the next year or two. So stay tuned for that one, because crude can get to, again, 100 level easily if we get back to the bull market. So this is kind of like the bear market since 2022. And I believe that this 3 years bear market is about to finish, and we will see how it goes with crude. All right, folks, I believe I covered everything. Tomorrow we will have NVDA, and that's going to be one of the important stock for Nasdaq, because NVIDIA was the heavy queen, like the darling for semiconductors and Nasdaq for the past 2-3 years. And we will see how the earning is going to unfold. I believe earning is going to be good, but how market is going to react to NVIDIA data and for the forecast, for the guidance for the future, that's another thing we should consider that one. Market is oversold already, but NVIDIA forming a pretty nice head and shoulder, and we will see how it goes tomorrow after hours for earning. Have a great evening, folks. See you on the chart. Bye-bye.